Hey guys, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I was scrolling through the user files in the DCS website to look for some missions that I could do by myself since I was bored, and I came across this one mission that was single player, and I gave it a whirl. The mission itself is not exactly all that stellar, but it does exemplify a couple of the what to do things and what not to do things. So I figured I would do a commentary over it, and I will fast forward through all the empty, non-essential parts, and it will go back to real time and all those little segments where people are talking, etc., and so forth.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Command 1. The crew chief has informed us that Uzi 1-2 has technical problems. His I-10 has no electrical power. He can't get it started. You will have to start Risker's patrol on your own. Uzi 4 have completed their patrol and just returned to base. They are about to land and we need you in the air to relive them. We will get a replacement I-10 up to you ASAP. For now, take off and fly to your patrol area. You will get tasking once you are in the air. Command 1. Out.
As you just heard, this is one of those computer-generated voices, and it's not something that I've ever liked. It just feels like it's kind of lazy. You don't really need to have a very good actor to say a bunch of lines, but it just feels a lot better than having a computer do it for you. I don't know, it's just a personal preference, really. So the general gist here is that we were supposed to have a two-flight, fly out and do a patrol. But we just got a radio message, says the other guy can't start, so it's just you on your own. And we'll be taking off from Sukumi over here, and we were supposed to head down southeast along the coast towards like Kobuleti, Sanaki, Kuptanari, that sort of shit. And basically do a patrol over there. But obviously this is going to be one of those missions where something's going to happen and you're going to need to go out and do A10 business. So one of the things that I like to do as I'm taking off towards the AO is set my aircraft to autopilot and path mode, so I'm climbing to altitude. Then on the bottom left I will go to the middle position on the IFFCC and I'll go through some menus. I will turn on the radar altitude tape, which is fun for underneath 1500 feet. You get an additional tape, as you can see on the right of the HUD. Then I will also turn on IFF, which is non-functional, but it gives you a nice little IFF warning at some point. Then the other thing that I do is turn on Bullseye. You can see Bullseye is up right now in the top right corner of my heads-up display. In multiplayer servers, that is very nice to have because you don't have to enter the F10 map and then try and look what your Bullseye is manually. You just take a look at the heads-up display and there it is. You can ask for help that way.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Command 1. You're in luck. We have a tasking for you already. We have been contacted by a group of rebel fighters at Matigli. According to the rebels, the government forces have deployed a number of self-propelled guns in the southwestern part of the city. Most likely Akatsias. These guns are now shelling Skorotsku, taking no care in avoiding civilian casualties. The rebels have requested our assistance in taking those guns out before more civilians are killed. As best as we can understand from the rebels' description, the guns are located at or close to this position. Latitude 422127 north, longitude 0421625 east. Begin searching at this location. The government forces are sure to have a lot of troops in this area, including a number of air defense units. Enemy air defenses will most likely consist of AAA including Shilkas, Magpats and short-range AR. Remember, the artillery is your primary target. Try to avoid destroying other enemies. If you are fired upon by enemy air defenses, you are clear to engage those targets. Other targets will require authorization from Command 1 before you are cleared to attack them. Coordinate your attack with the rebel forces at the target area. You can contact them at VHF, FM 30.00, call sign Cobra 11, Command 1. Out.
Uzi 1. Copy. Heading to Mark Beasley. Out.
Okay, so we finally have something to kill. I'm going to go into the CDU and enter the coordinates manually. And then I'll switch my knob into mission, scroll through until I have that TGT or target 1 selected, and turn to the target.
Cobra 11, Cobra 11. This is Uzi 1. Com check. Over.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Cobra 11. We read you. Loud and clear. Over.
Uzi 1. Copy. Same here. Com is good. ETI at your location. 12 minutes. Out. Cobra 11, Cobra 11. This is Uzi 1. I'm approaching my IP. Request target update. Over.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Cobra 11. Good to hear, you are just in time. Those bastards are shelling Skorotsku, with no regard for civilian casualties. The enemy artillery position remain the same. They are deployed in the southwestern part of Ralfi. We see 3 platoons of self-propelled guns and some support units. The guns are deployed platoon by platoon in line formation. 4 guns each. Enemy air defenses include a number of shilkers. We are having trouble pinpointing their exact location since they are constantly changing their position. We can, however, confirm 2 to 3 shilkers are operating in and around the city. In addition to the shilkers, the enemy troops in the area will most likely be equipped with some manpads. Cobra 11. Out.
Okay, so I was kind of like half asleep through all that, but what I got from that is a bunch of shit to kill. I wasn't quite sure if I was heading in the right direction or if I inputted the coordinates right, but right there I just reconfirmed that that's exactly where I need to be going.
Uzi 1, Uzi 1. This is Cobra 11. We have a target location update for you. We just received reports of an ammo supply convoy heading for the enemy artillery position. This convoy is joined by SI 13 Strela. The convoy have been seen turning left at a crossroad up Jajeskari, approximately 8,000 meters northeast of the artillery position. They are currently traveling southwest along the minor road from Jajeskari. The road drives alongside of the Basha River, on the north side. Cobra 11. Out.
Cobra 11, Cobra 11. This is Uzi 1. Copy. SI 13. 8,000 meters northeast of artillery position. Traveling southwest along the road. Uzi 1. Out. Command 1, Command 1. This is Uzi 1. Request permission to engage. SI 13. Over.
Uzi 1, Uzi 1. This is Command 1. You are clear to engage that target. Command 1. Out.
Uzi 1. Copy.
Okay, so while we're still making our way towards the AO, I looked at the targeting pod and I started to look for targets. And as you can see, I'm actually picking up some targets here or there. The first one was a Shilka, and the rest of these guys are mainly all just trucks. But I try to do a very thorough look through and see if I can pick up as much as possible. But I'm not quite sure at this point what I'm supposed to be killing. I know that they mentioned an SA-13 Strela, but I do have that SA-8 spiking me on the RWR. So while I'm doing this and getting closer to the AO, I'll actually try and actively look for the SA-8 first, because that is a priority target. Remember, we only have 2 Mavericks on board, so I want to make good use of them. So here, I'm going to select the first Maverick. I'm going to take care of that first AAA unit, because I don't exactly want to go head-on guns with that thing.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Cobra 11. Your first strike on the artillery position was not very successful. Very few targets got destroyed. You are cleared to re-attack. Cobra 11. Out.
Cobra 11 is a bit of a dick.
Uzi 1. Uzi 1. This is Cobra 11. We see the enemy reacting to your first strike on the artillery position. A few hundred meters northwest of the westernmost gun platoon. Shilka is breaking cover and advancing into the open field. We also see the gun crews making hasty preparations to leave. They are about to bug out. Cobra 11. Out.
So as you've just heard, the guy will keep giving me updates as things change along the AO, but it's both good and bad. Mostly it's superfluous information I don't need every couple of minutes. In this instance right now, though, what I'm concerned about is that SA-8. I'm not sure if it's part of the mission or not, but it is close enough to the AO where it could be a possible threat to me. As you can see in the radio warning receiver a bunch of times, it does show up quite a bit inside. Here I'm trying to pull a wild weasel and get him to shoot at me, because as you can tell, I mean, it's right inside firing range. but he's just not having any of it. And I keep thinking that he's somewhere right there until I notice the airfield, and I go, oh, it's probably in there. Well then, fuck that. Let it just stay right where it is. So in the meanwhile, I'll just go back to the AO and see if I can visually acquire where these targets may be. I'm trying to look for that SA-13, perhaps another Shilka in the town, or something of that sort, until this guy comes out of fucking nowhere.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude. Pull up, pull up.
Well, I guess that is one way of doing things. Got myself a gun skill with an SA-13, which is pretty ballsy. And we've also located a mobile AAA, which is a Shilka. This guy's pretty displeased with our presence, but not for much longer. Now, that entire defensive maneuver, all that was is pulling the throttle to idle position and popping some flares in the Charlie program of your CMS panel. Here I decided not to waste another Maverick since I have only one left, and I decided to do something quite stupid, and that is engaging a mobile Shilka with guns. As you see, he just fired. We have only a split second before we need to make a defensive maneuver, and he missed his guns, and we did not actually quite get him there. To make things worse, he's moved off the road, so it's quite a bit difficult to see him, but that's okay. I've got a general just idea of where he's at. So the idea here is going to be to circle around and watch him fire the guns, because he fires in bursts. And instead of flying in a straight line towards him where it's going to be stupid easy for him to hit us, I'm going to time it so that his bursts don't coincide with him aiming straight at me as I'm flying in a straight level line towards him. Like this right there. He fired right in that moment, but I moved away before those bullets reached me. But my bullets definitely reached him. And there's a kill. Alright, happy with that. I just checked my warning panel to make sure I don't actually have any damage. And then I look behind where I killed Estrella, and look at that. There's a line of vehicles, about 5 of them, where that road makes an S. And this would be a perfect opportunity to switch to the cluster bombs, which is a weapon I don't use very often since it's not terribly effective, but from time to time it can be rather devastating. Now, prior to this, I've checked my CDU to check what the wind conditions are, and they are blowing 180-416, which is considerable. Instead of using the targeting pod to do this strike, what I'm actually going to do is do a CCIP drop. Since the wind is blowing due north, I need to place the CBU to the south, which in this instance will be before the road as we're looking at it now. And when the CBUs actually deploy with the parachutes, they will drift north towards the targets. As you can see, the Pipper doesn't even show up on the heads-up display, but that's okay. I'm kind of winging it. It's a CBU, so I don't need to be terribly precise. And now it's just a matter of waiting until the skeets drift over towards their targets. Okay, so it looks like we got lucky, and we killed 4 out of 5, with the 5th one going off the road, but we're going to finish him off with guns. In order to get the best accuracy with a short burst of guns, we're actually going to get pretty close in here, so about 0.7.
Pull up.
And that's a kill. Wunderbar. Alright. Now that the target is dead, I'm actually considerably bored. It's probably like 3 in the morning. So I'm looking at the AO, and I actually visually acquire some vehicles that I think I've marked earlier. These are just your standard trucks, and they're pretty easy to take care of. I like doing these sorts of runs.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude.
At this point, I'm actually hoping that another SA-13 will shoot at me, so it'll give me something to do, because this is pretty boring. And I call in the AI to give me a heads up on enemy positions.
Easy one. Easy one. This is Cobra 11. Enemy guns moving along the road. Current location, close to the first crossroad in Zika, approximately 5,000 meters west of their original firing position. Marking location with red smoke. Cobra 11. Out.
Okay, so he's telling me that there's some guns 5,000 meters to the west of their original position. I don't know what the original position was to begin with, so hey, look, some more trucks to kill.
Pull up, pull up.
Bada bing, bada boom. So my patience is actually starting to wear off very rapidly. But luckily enough, as I'm turning over to the right, I actually do spot that red smoke that the AI gave on that position. Sweet! Well, they're not on the smoke, but they're moving down the road, so a little pan to the left reveals that, oh, yeah, there they are. Right on the road. It looks like 4 vehicles. And this looks like the perfect opportunity to use our remaining CBU-97. We obviously need to make sure that we drop it due south of the target. And we're going to wing it like we did the first time. But unfortunately, as you will notice on the heads-up display, we dropped this thing just below 3,000 feet. And I believe my HOF was set to 2,200. And it did not have enough altitude to deploy properly. Either that or drifted way off, but I saw no explosions whatsoever. So they did miss, and a little alt-tab out there. But yeah, so that was a CBU wasted because of me being that bored and just trying to do this fairly quickly. If I was actually fairly serious, I would have used the CCRP method with a targeting pod. So I just turn in with my guns to take care of business as usual.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude. Pull up, pull up.
Easy one, easy one. This is Cobra 11. The last gun is burning. The western platoon have been wiped out. Awesome flying. Cobra 11. Out.
Okay, so that was the western platoon. We were left with the eastern platoon, which is why I'm heading east now to try and look for it. That was a little bit of a mistake on my part. I used too much guns because I thought those were tanks until I got so close after my first strike that I went, oh, it's artillery. You don't need that much guns. But there you see the smoke right above my Mode 4 flashing on the heads-up display. And as I'm itching forward, I will try and locate this eastern group and see if we can take these guys out. Now, it is my assumption that due to this mission being fairly old and DCS always screwing up the scripts, certain commands, certain triggers don't work anymore past a certain version of DCS, and certain vehicles just don't move anymore, or they fail to get to certain locations. I've been looking around for a while here, trying to look for this enemy convoy position, but I just could not find them. And what I asked the AI right there for was just an update on their position. He does mention they go east outside of the crossroads from this city. So that's the only one that actually goes anywhere, right there off to the east, right? So I'm thinking just visually acquire that road, which is right over her, and pan to the left until I see if I can find them. And voila, there they are. There's a bunch of vehicles there. I see 4, but there's actually 6 there. And since we don't have any more smart munitions, we're just going to go in with guns, or however many bullets we have remaining, which is very few. The other position that we just killed was all artillery, so I figured that this one's going to be exactly the same. Unfortunately for me, those are BMPs.
Pull up.
As soon as I saw those flashes, I turned away, because these guys are far more accurate than even Shilkas. They are not something that you want to go head-to-head with, especially with guns from inside of a nautical mile. Okay, so I do have 2 GBU-12s that I was saving for a dire situation. I need to get my targeting pod on there. The way I do this is, I have my TAD up, and I will move my cursor until I select the Z, and I make it my SPE. The Z will indicate the last location you've deployed weapons on. In this case, I deployed guns on that first APC that I saw back there. Is it a BMP, BRDM? I don't know. They're both scary as far as their gun accuracy is concerned. And they're both going to die, so... I got my GBU-12 selected, and I've pressed trying to head forward long with my targeting pod up, and it slaved my targeting pod right to that position. So it's a very quick little tool to put your centers right on the last position you fired, just in case you ever lose position of that. And there we go. You can even see the bullet impacts from our gun run right around that APC. Yeah, it was a BMP. Look at that. And just reacquire for the second target, which is right there. Rinse, repeat. A thing to note here is as I'm turning in, I'm actually fairly close to the target, so I will dive down. You see me, I'm basically negative 15 degrees in that dive. This ensures that I'm still going to be able to drop the bomb. If I had my nose on the horizon or higher, I might have actually already passed the drop zone. So putting your nose down into a dive a little bit like that will help you still have a release cue there when you're turning in a little bit too close to the target than what you're used to. And here I do one of my signature moves where I take out a line of vehicles in one strafe. This time I'm not going to use as much rounds as I did last time. Quite a bit more controlled.
Al, pull up, pull up.
And that's all she wrote.
Easy one. This is Code 11. Target destroyed. The eastern platoon have been wiped out.
Alright, here I'm happy because I've just taken care of the western and eastern artillery positions, which I think is what the main mission here was supposed to be anyway. And I'm hoping that this nightmare of a mission will end soon.
Easy one. This is Code 11. We have located the middle gun platoon, approximately 2,000 meters south of the original firing position.
Well, it's not over yet. Fuck. Okay, since this is extremely dull and boring, let me give you a summary of what's going on. That missile launch is just a TOW or an RPG. That's not an actual AA launch. So, these guys are under fire. They pop green smoke on them. There's a bunch of armor. Kill. That's it.
300 meters southwest from our location. Middle gun platoon, 300 meters south from our location. Code 11. Out.
Uzi 1. This is Command 1. You are clear to engage those BMPs. Command 1. Out.
So you can clearly see the green smoke indicating the friendly position right there. And I've noticed the 2 BMPs, and they are actually busy firing on that green position. So I will go in and do a gun run on these 2 guys since they're busy right now. Now this is pretty stupid, and I wouldn't do this normally, but if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. And look at that. Job done. And that was the last round of Gal 8 we had.
The gun platoon is moving out, heading south into the open field. We will be unable to follow them into the open with all the enemies around here. You will have to keep track of them yourself. Cobra 11.
Alright, Cobra 11 is as useless as always, and I do notice the 3 artillery pieces right there, so I'm going to go ahead and do a strike on that. Now, I'm going to use my last Maverick in hopes that one of those artillery pieces that was kind of in the center position is going to create enough splash damage when it's dead to kill another artillery piece. And I'm using a visual mode of locking onto it. Unfortunately, I get a no track launch inhibit warning. Yeah, this happens sometimes, and it's extremely annoying, and there's many reasons for why this happens, but all you gotta do is just reset, basically go around, try again from a slightly longer distance, or from a different angle. And using the Maverick camera this time. Alright, not that one. Definitely not that one. A little higher to the left. Just that's. There you go. Haha. Unfortunately, it just killed the one. Oh well. Okay, so what weapons do we have left? Because we're out of guns. Fuck. It's the rockets. I really don't like the rockets. They have such shit damage. But there was a patch that was released a couple of patches ago that increased the damage these rockets make. So I'm hoping that a good 2 to 3 rockets, if placed quite well, will work here. This is, after all, artillery positions, right?
Altitude, altitude.
And let's see what kind of damage that did. Oh, well, look at that. Alright, rockets do work. Okay, so we still have 5 rockets left, because each pod carries 7. And I think we have only 1 artillery piece left, so we should have just about enough to take care of this little problem.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude.
SA-8's just getting a little cheeky. There's no need to worry about that. But did you see that? That was a direct hit. That was cool. Unfortunately, we're not getting any notification from the AI that the mission's over, so it looks like we have something left to shoot at. But I don't see it. Until right there, I actually noticed where the 2 fires are. There's actually some infantry there. So, this would be the perfect time to use guns. But we have rockets, so let's just settle with that.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude.
At this point, I feel like doing a victory roll, because I'm left with only 1 rocket left in the pod. Nothing else. I'm completely wiped out, but there's still no message. So I'm thinking, Jesus, what am I left with? And then look at this sucker. He was hiding underneath a tree. 1 more artillery piece, and we have only 1 more rocket to use. So this has to be a kill.
Pull up, pull up.
Moment of truth.
Altitude, altitude.
Easy one, easy one. This is Code 11. Good hit. Those guys are dead. Middle platoon have been destroyed.
Oh, and thank fuck for that. Oof. I mean, that's kind of cutting it close. I was going to RTB regardless of how that went down, but I'm happy with that.
Command 1. Command 1. This is
Warning,
User 1. The
autopilot.
last gun platoon have been destroyed. Over.
Easy one, easy one. This is Command 1. Well done. Mission accomplished. Return to base. Command 1. Out.
Alright, so that brings that video to the close, and if you guys want to see more videos like this with commentary on it, let me know. I will try to do something. There's a very big lack of actual user-made missions, so don't expect too much too often, but once in a blue moon I think it's going to be fine. If I remember, in the description I will also post which mods I'm running for Flaming Cliffs and DCS. Just do note that the RAE mod will be a little bit different for you because I have customized mine to my likes and tastes. Specifically the G-breath effects I've included in there as well. And I think there's some little changes here or there. I don't have the energy to try and post that, so don't ask for my personal RAE file. It's just not going to happen. Nah, look at that. Better parking job than that AI, huh?